Hello, all. It's 10 after 4, and we'll open the January 6th Resiliency and Sustainability Committee meeting. Hope you all had a good holiday.
Yeah.
And I'm having a problem getting back to normal this week. So Deirdre and Jay are not going to be here today. I see that I made Billy the minute taker, and he's not here. So you were going to be the minute taker from the last one. Do I put you on the spot? I asked you to be it?
Sure.
Sure I'm putting you on the spot, or sure it's okay?
No, sure, it's okay.
Great, thanks. All right. So we missed last month's meeting, but not a whole lot's been going on new. However, just to bring you up to date with the Stantec mapping project, that's, as I recall, Margaret, they got most of the modeling done, and they were getting ready to go to the next stage, whatever the first phase was.
Sure. I can send out the report.
Yeah.
Did you send out the report?
I don't remember. I don't
Okay,
remember
I'm happy
anything
to do it.
prior to January 1st. I'm sorry.
So they did, this is very untechnical, but they added more storms into their model.
That's right.
And then they ran the model like a test model. But then we ran into this snafu about what we wanted to have modeled, and we haven't followed up with them yet.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. That was the other thing we were going to talk about, but we didn't.
Okay.
But they did send us a progress report.
Is anybody interested in the progress report? Okay.
Cool.
I'll send it out. Or, Margaret, do you have it handy? I have it if you don't.
I can send it out tomorrow.
Great.
There's two. One of them's way over my head, and the other one's just a little bit over.
Well, the thing that bothered me a little bit when I read it, now that I'm thinking about it, they did Bailey Island.
Yeah,
which-
they keep using like the same test site, which is.
Yeah, and I'm
the
more
north end of it.
interested in seeing what's up more north. Great Island and that type of, because that's where we might see the difference. So anyhow, that's good. So that's in process, and then they're going on to the next step, and I think that's scheduled to be finished by April,
It was
something like that. It was a year from
8
when we-
months, I think.
Yeah, yeah. The second one was the water study. Of course, we were supposed to hear by the end of the year, and they said that it would be in January. So we'll see. I would like to know if we got that or not, because there's some other things coming up for grants that if we don't get it, that we could maybe apply for.
And that was the GoPIF one for the
Yes.
water, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was for the one we did this summer. Water testing,
Yeah,
and also printing of the resiliency booklet.
yeah.
The next one, okay. The next thing I wanted to go over, we were talking about the capital investment plan and the SPIRA update. I had sent the letter out that I sent to SPIRA during December. I was able to talk to the Budget Advisory Committee the second week of December, and they're looking for a number, which we can't really give them a number. But I told them that if they're trying to get a figure in mind, just use the average of what one of the projects is going to cost, and if you want to have money ready, plan on having that money available. And they're all within this, they're all at least $1 million, as I recall.
Yeah.
And so if they're looking for a number, but they weren't really, because they weren't going to put it in this year's budget, they have direction, and I think they were happy with the direction and the way we presented it. So, so that's good. As far as SPIRA, we have $112,000 in the SPIRA account at this point. So we've been told to stay around 100,000 on that. So not doing any, not asking at this point for any additional funds. Now, that's why I'd like to know if we got this last grant, whether we're going to use the money that we have for that.
When does a window close for us potentially asking?
Well, it's
Or
going to have to
is it
be an
closed?
emergency grant type of thing. If emergency town meeting, I mean, the budget advisory, budget advisory hasn't finished the report yet, have they?
They're doing a joint meeting with the select board on Thursday.
Oh, that's pretty soon.
But in some of the other money, in the 112, you said it's 112, some of that other money has been committed to other things, right? Like the windows?
Yeah, there's windows for the town, which were about 40,000, as I recall. And also, they spent the money for the town dock. They took that 10,000 and used it. And,
So the 10,000 has already been deducted from the
Yeah,
fund, and
yeah.
and therefore it won't
Yeah.
be taken from the 112?
right,
Okay, and the 40,000 for the windows?
right, I have that, and I should have brought it today, I meant to, and I forgot to.
But will that be deducted from the 112?
Would you repeat that?
You just said $40,000 for windows.
That's
Will-
included.
So that will be deducted from the 112, or the 112 will be left after that's already deducted?
I don't remember, I'm sorry.
Okay,
I meant
that's
to
all
bring
right.
it today. What we're running into is what we have, Terry looks at what is in the fund right now, what is spent. And I've been keeping track of what we have committed for our use. We're going to have to use money for the rest of the grant for the water, the Stantec Tutty.
Yeah, the Sandtech.
And-
We've used, I think, 4 or 6, and you have another 4 or 6 committed, something like
Yeah.
that. I don't remember.
And it's really difficult because what they're doing now is when they're paying, they're paying the percent, our Spira percentage, they're paying out a percentage of each bill out of that fund rather than taking it all from the grant itself. So, and that that's just started to happen in the last 2 grants. We have to do that for the, so anyhow,
I'm sorry, can you just explain that again? You shook your head like you understood.
Sort of.
A percentage is coming out of,
so in the past, let's just say we get a grant for 100,000 and we're putting 10,000 in from Spira. They would pay the grant down first when they were paying the contractor.
right.
But now that a lot of these are going through NOAA and through the federal government, they're taking a percentage on each piece. So in other words,
We have to pony up a little bit each time.
each time,
They're doing it
Versus
bit by bit.
yeah, and so it becomes a little more harder to keep it straight. But I was thinking, Nancy, I'm going to put another column in. We're going to have to start accounting for it that way, percentage-wise, how much is paid, and that'll help us keep track of the money. So,
It would be really nice if we could have a firm idea of how much would be left at the ready for the next grant proposal, to commit to the next grant proposal.
ideally,
You have that figure, though.
we're pretty close, yeah.
I think Mary Ann did do the work where she figured out what was committed versus what
I
was.
did, and I meant to
uncommitted.
bring it today, and I forgot.
But I can email that out.
Do we know roughly
think-
what it is? I don't know. Might be on there.
Is this in
We
the,
can see if I can find it.
in the
Email it.
second page of the agenda with Spira budget requests?
Yeah, it's in there.
Okay.
Spirit budget request, Spirit balance, 112,000 committed for water study,
Yep.
and that's what we have in the fund now, as of January.
So then subtract 7,000 which leaves us 105,000.
Exactly.
And subtract 24.
Now, the question,
Yeah.
if we get that second grant, which we haven't heard, then that's where we could be a little
Right.
tight.
Yeah.
And how much, do you remember how much we requested? Or how much would be committed from the one that we're waiting to hear about? No, that's the $7,000.
Yeah, so it seemed like it was relatively small.
Oh, that's right, the
Yeah, that's the
$7,000, $7,000 is the water study.
Okay.
Yeah,
So we'll still have something like 105,000 to work with.
correct.
Plus whatever's being taken out for the windows, or excuse me, minus whatever's being taken out for the windows.
Yeah, that's nebulous. I have no idea when they're going to do that.
Yeah.
That's been sitting there for
This says 4,000, not 40,000 for the windows.
4,000? Oh,
Yeah.
Oh,
That's much better.
okay, then
That's
it doesn't matter.
thank you.
So it looks like we have 134 appropriated, $45,000 committed,
So that leaves about 90.
Yeah.
and $16,000 expended, and it says 117 in reserve. Anyways,
Yeah.
I'll
So
send it, I'll send it.
our biggest
I'm not
problem
worried
is the
about it.
one coming up for Garrison Cove, because that's going to be a chunk. I don't-
Marianne, should we just do a quick jump for minutes, November minutes?
Thank you. Sure.
I move we approve the November minutes.
I found one typo.
Okay.
In the E&T committee update, it says ability for the to be hooked up again. Say for them to be hooked up again.
Okay. I'm sorry. Which one was that?
Right?
Oh, yeah, and ENT?
E&T committee, yeah.
Right.
That's the one I read carefully.
Yep.
Right.
Right. I move we accept the minutes as amended.
So we need a second.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And would you repeat that, Howie?
It says the where it should say them in the third line of the E&T report. Ability for them to be hooked up again.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, I always forget minutes.
That's why Ken is here.
Thank you. All right. So that's where we are with Spira. Now, the next thing, before we get into just committee, updates from your committees that you have going on. The Garrison Cove Landing Project is the main public working waterfront infrastructure grant, which is this one.
What's the one with the boat?
It's the one with the boat, yeah.
Looks like a
Oh, you
cloud to
didn't
me.
get it?
That's, I don't see a boat.
Oh, you got two of the same ones.
These are all boats. Does
Oh.
anybody need a boat?
Yep.
You have a boat? You need a
Harry,
boat.
I think
You
he
need a boat?
listen.
You got the wrong one.
All right. Everyone got a boat?
There's two. There's another one that came out today, so that's,
There's the one,
but we're talking about the boat for 17 million,
Okay.
of which we can go up to 2 million. This is the one we've been talking about for Garrison Cove. And that should open the middle of January and closes in March,
something like that.
something like that. We have talked about this in a lot. I was reading this today, and now I might be confused, Margaret, because that second one just came up. I got the sense it was a resiliency grant, and, well, Margaret, I want to be sure that we have a really good story for the resiliency piece.
And this is, I think, this is sort of we applied for a grant from the Department of Transportation, technically a culvert grant.
Right.
Was our original attempt at this Garrison Cove. And I think we will, probably that'll be our starting point, but we'll probably rework it a little bit to make a stronger argument for Garrison.
Now, I'm not sure how much of you, we've talked about this in passing for 6 months. I'm not sure how many of you, other than a couple of us, are that familiar with it. Garrison Cove, of course, is highly used by a lot of the fishermen. The landing and the boat ramp there is in bad need of repair. We had gotten an engineering design done like 4 or 5 years ago with some grant money, and it fleshed out the project of what it would be needed. So what we want to do is apply for doing the work on this. Now, part of the boat ramp that they designed is going to be resilient to higher tides because it's going to go out further.
Right. And it also includes stabilization, especially to the east of the ramp. I think it's
Yes.
east, isn't it? Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So it does, the nice thing, it does check both the infrastructure and resiliency boxes.
Now, there's a couple things to say about it, and I don't know if you're familiar with the area that's going down by Cook's. That corner, you come down Garrison Cove Road, the ramp is like right to the north. There's a really tight turn to the east. There's a house on the corner. Plus, there's a house on the other corner, too.
Yeah.
So it's tight in there as well. Part of the design is to also stabilize this small intertidal area.
Beachy, really. It's really
It's a beach.
beachy, yeah.
The town owns a piece of that
I'd
beach.
call it a berm or a bluff, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So it includes stabilization and with basically adding,
Well, it's a combination, I think, of both hardening, as they call it, with special, I think there's a certain kind of mattress, I think was termed, and then you have like a living shoreline that goes on top of that. So it's sort of a combination of hardening and
Yeah.
natural vegetation.
right, so basically they're going to put a basket of rock in, then they're going to cover it with sand and plant beach grass.
I would say, though, that living shoreline techniques have come a long way since that was originally proposed, and I wonder if whoever we use to help us with the grant will, in the end, change the plan a little bit.
I don't know, they might, although from what I've been watching in some of the programs that the state has been doing, it's pretty much the same thing.
Okay.
I mean,
Come
talked
that
about.
I think you could probably make certain argument in the grant, try to keep it somewhat generic, so
Yeah.
to allow for what's the best technology at the time.
Yeah.
Didn't we talk a couple of months ago about wondering whether the stabilization would fit into the criteria of the working waterfront part?
We felt that, we did talk about the fact that we thought it would fit better than the last time.
Yeah, but I mean, if the infrastructure, I thought we were talking about that as being the boat launch area itself.
Right.
But to say that one of the selling points is that this is part of an overall project, which is going to include stabilization of the.
That's a good way to put it, yeah.
Is that,
That's a good way to put it.
okay.
Yeah.
What would happen to the ramp if this stabilization did not happen?
They can be separated. I mean, I think they can. I mean, you could just say, let's go in and upgrade or repair or do the ramp. I think you're looking at it a longer time, it should be a protection to the ramp long
Okay.
term
Right.
is the compelling reason to do the other.
The ramp is just deteriorating
It's,
in its current state, though.
yeah.
And it,
So it needs to be done regardless.
oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And that whole area, that intertidal area, I happened to be down there at the beginning of December. They were pulling the floats from the Coastal Study Center, and you realize they use that land, that intertidal area, they just tip up the floats, they scrape off all the growth and shells, and if you didn't have that area, you'd have to do it someplace else and then cart
That
that
would-
stuff back.
It's really widely used by commercial fishermen, the beaches too.
Oh, yeah.
It is, you're right. And it also gets a pretty heavy recreation use as well, especially for seasonal in and out.
West side, where they're doing that, right?
No,
Of
east
the-
side,
of the boat ramp?
east side,
The east side?
yeah.
Predominantly
Like
east
the head of
side.
the beach.
There-
Because the west side's owned by Cooks.
Oh, okay.
But there is some storage of sometimes
that's
occasional
what I
gear and stuff
noticed
to
the
the,
storage.
you're right, there is a
Yeah,
little bit
that's-
there,
that's
but,
different, yeah.
but there's a lot, I think it goes a lot more to the east, on the east side.
It would
So we
seem-
own from, sorry to interrupt, we own from telephone pole to telephone pole essentially. So when you're driving down, if the boat launch is right in front of you, there's a telephone pole to your left. And then there's a telephone pole down the beach
To the right.
to the right.
Okay.
In front of the Wentworth cottage that we were at with the planning board.
Yeah.
So we own basically from telephone pole to telephone pole.
Yep.
It seems as if the Schiller Center using that to clean their floats at the end of the season would be an anecdote that would catch people's attention. Because
Right.
they're another, affiliation
Yeah.
that's specifically using, and the fact
Do
that
you
the
want-
harbor
I
master is
didn't know
now
if you wanted-
based right there.
Oh, you
seems to
got
be
it.
a
This
selling
is-
point.
Right.
Just the
yeah.
telephone pole.
Our telephone pole is,
And one of the big
Pretty
things
much
was that
right
telephone
there.
pole to the left being removed,
so
or
it's
removed.
on the one that, it's
Every
sort of, it's a
fisherman
little bit
brought
of
that
way,
up
really,
whenever
the
we
ramp,
talked
because
about
it's right there.
And it's part
And then you,
of being removed. in
picture, you
plan.
do even have
I'm
cars.
surprised more people who
And
had
then-
a little bit
So
of
interesting.
a head start before.
Look at the difference
boats just
between my
got
picture and your
straight
picture.
to the water down. And that-
Yeah.
If I zoom in, yeah.
Yeah.
big
I think those
difference.
people
I
drive a
have
lot,
it completely
very
different names. There are
often
no
down
cars in
there.
mine.
Yeah.
They could do it with their eyes
Yeah,
closed.
this
There's
is,
no greenery in mine.
I'm not sure
So
what.
if moving
this
the
is what
telephone
X
pole
maps
is
are
part
so
of this,
cool.
and that's something that the
Gives the
fishermen have been asking
overlay.
for a long time, it seems
So
to
you
me
see,
that
this is
also
the
needs
town
to be
of
included,
Barnstable. This
included
is the
in the
town.
narrative that we're
Over here.
responding to the people who
That's what
use the
we're
working
talking
water.
about,
Right,
that.
right.
That,
So we
and then
would-
this is where the
tell where our
stabilization would be through here with the design. I
That's
think we
true.
said that. It's like, say, that combination of sort of hardening and the living.
Now, there's a house on the corner that's being torn down and removed and rebuilt, which is still up in the air.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
We're not sure where, but
Yeah. But,
So if anybody's interested, when GEI originally presented this grant, their findings from the grant, there's a presentation that's recorded that I can send out and a corresponding slideshow.
yeah,
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Good.
I've been talking about it for so much, I feel like everybody knows about it, but I realize that's not the case. I happen to live near there, and I never knew realized how much it was used until I walked down and started watching for a while.
You don't realize, you look at this, who would use this? You know, it's deteriorating, there's no parking, there's paying to turn around, but it is heavily used.
All day, every day.
Yeah, year round too.
Yeah, yeah.
This RFP looks perfect. I mean, it's big money, and they're asking for all the things that we're looking for to improve Garrison Cove.
Right,
Yep.
right. So,
We're ready.
And we're ready, which is why we have the Spira Fund, so that we can be ready.
This is exactly the situation that we're looking for.
I think for me, it's kind of opened my eyes that there's kind of like this pipeline that we need to do where we find a planning grant to do the preliminary engineering, and then you wait for a construction grant, and then you already have something identified and in the pipeline. And then like this, we're not gonna have to do that much work to get the construction grant. And so you have to like plan a couple years in advance, you know, with town lands and everybody.
You're right, but you also need to have money in a kitty that says we can do it, and it's, we've pegged it right at 100K, and the 5% of the 2 million is 100K, so it's another example that the Spira Fund is pitched at the right amount.
it's interesting here, yep,
Yeah.
yep,
If it were double, we could do 2 of these.
that's true.
I'm just greedy.
We did apply for 2 the last time we applied for this. Didn't get either.
I suppose we're gonna spend it, if we get the whole thing, it's not gonna be spent in 1 year anyway. And if they're going to be taking the money out incrementally, as the
Right.
payments go
Yeah.
on,
Yeah.
there'll be another town meeting before we
Right,
pull it.
that's true.
Good point, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so, Ken and, we will, I'm thinking we should start working on this.
We need to sort of dust off our old one and figure out
Dust off
what
our
what we
old
need.
one, and then I'll
we need
send
to-
it around for everybody to,
I got a question. So imagine we get this grant,
uh-huh,
just about how much this site is used. We should have something in it that allows us to,
Okay,
I don't know,
yeah.
do a
You
survey
reviewed
of
last
users
time.
before, and a survey of users after to demonstrate, you know, that there was an appreciation or people really like it or something. Some way to, just to document that the project that we did really helped a bunch of people, and that it's not just us saying it, that there's something to document that.
so beforehand, we can figure out how many commercial people use it.
And even if we just did a simple survey, a simple mail survey or something that said, you know, what do they complain about, or how would they rate it, or, I mean, we could come up with a way to do that. Really, just really low budget kind of thing. But.
But do we have time to do that now?
Sure.
This is interesting. This is the question that came up at the fisheries meeting about were we going to reach out to the public about this project ahead of time?
Can we put a sign down by the landing, asking people who use it to go to a town website and answer some questions?
Yeah.
I mean, you probably get a pretty good response simply because they'd be motivated to let you know what they like and don't like about
It's
it.
a good
Right, and I
idea.
think I actually emphasize this is to improve it.
To improve it.
Right.
Right, so let us know what you're pissed about. You know, so, but-
I do think before we would finalize the construction drawings, we would have to have a stakeholder meeting anyways to take everybody's opinion into account.
Right, but
Yeah.
it'd be nice to just get some preliminary opinions about what they like and don't like about it, even before we're, doing anything.
And, you know, it's Maine Public Working Waterfront Infrastructure Fund, so back to the concept of working waterfront and making sure that the commercial use of it as a working waterfront is appropriately assessed.
And it's not all,
There's
yeah.
you know, yes, there are going to be recreational users of which that could be considered part of the working waterfront because it's tourism or whatever, but also specifically making sure we capture the commercial users of this and how that might help them. But it just seems it would be good for us to think about that a little bit and come up with a plan.
Sounds good. Who would like to work on that?
I think Nancy really wants to.
It's too bad this is being recorded. Mine's off.
No, I'm just thinking out because we don't have a lot of time, and it's winter, but,
I'm not, I mean, it doesn't have to be done immediately. I mean, it doesn't even have to be done. I mean, how long will it be before we put in something and we'll even know?
well, you're talking, I thought you were talking about before we,
As material for the
Oh,
grant.
as material for the grant, oh. Oh, that's.
I mean, we
one
have-
could do that too.
we have material already from, I have reached out to the fisheries committee and taken input from them.
Okay.
The question came up at that meeting, were we going to put it out to the whole town? And we haven't in the past, not that we shouldn't, reached out because we don't have the funds to do it yet anyhow. So,
You just, I think, maybe saying that it would be a good idea to track it so that we have something to point to in the next grant that, is that maybe what you're saying?
More
Like demonstrate
after the fact than necessarily
efficacy?
for this application.
Yeah, I wasn't initially thinking for this application.
Oh,
I was-
okay.
I was thinking of, it would be good to document it before and after if we get it, so that we
Gotcha.
can say,
Yeah.
we did this is why we, this is exactly what we set
Yeah.
up, and here's an example of a project that is exactly in line with what this committee was proposing to do. Here's a project that actually worked, exactly why we have the fund, the Spira fund. We did this project, it had a benefit to the working waterfront, and we've documented that. That's what I was referring to.
Oh, okay.
But I do think that it would be valuable to make sure that, and we will anyway in any application.
Tim, your mic's not on. I don't think your mic's on.
Oh.
Sorry. Sorry to interrupt.
Obviously, in an application, we'll have to come up with why we even identified this as a priority, and so there will be information that we've already gathered on what was behind it and why we were proposing it needed to be changed. But I was just thinking, if we get it before, there was plenty of lead-up time to do some kind of survey before that's replicated after, so then you can have a before-after
Gotcha.
comparison.
Okay.
Not that we would have to run to do it now.
That's was my concern.
Okay, it seems like the time to do it would maybe start from like spring through midsummer. So
Midsummer.
you could catch in all the seasonal plus the regular one.
Yep, yep.
But you take some time to design it.
Design of something.
And I would probably suggest that if we found out that we get the grant, that we would want to do the survey before we announce that we got the grant.
Yeah.
So,
I-
because anyway.
Tim, I do think that it would be worth putting in a few sentences in this grant application saying that we intend to assess the impact before, while it's still, people still don't know that we have the funding, and afterward, and that would then inform future grant proposals.
Yes, yeah, and that part of the funds would be
Right.
used to do that and then report on it. But I mean, I think it's so, as we've just been saying, it's so in line with what we've been trying to set up here in this committee, that here we, assuming we get it, or hopefully we get it, we don't want to miss the opportunity to say, this is it, this is why.
Yeah,
This is why
right.
we're.
Yeah, I think it strengthens our reputation, and it also strengthens their reputation. If they have hard data, that the money that they distribute has a positive impact.
Exactly.
Could that be done by having the anchor write an article about
Yeah.
the need?
Yep.
And then and that doesn't mean that we have to do, I mean, it would make them have to do the work for us, basically.
But that's interesting, and I like your idea of putting something up on the telephone pole down there. Because
Yeah.
you can just have a QR code for them.
But also something in the anchor would be really.
Oh, and the
good.
anchor would be
Yeah.
good, too. But for, when we
I-
write the grant, we do have pictures, and we have reached out in the past to various constituencies that use it. So that will
Yeah.
go in the grant itself.
Yes, and that goes in, but what we haven't done is the idea of a before-after comparison.
No, you're right.
So that we can document, you know,
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
percentage improvement in people's perceptions did you get?
In addition, it's really great when we're looking at our annual report to the town, why do we actually have these spirit funds?
Right.
What
Exactly, yeah.
tangible
Yeah.
benefit are we getting out of it?
Yep.
I love it.
And I will work on that.
Good.
I'll work with you.
I told you she would.
Great ideas, guys. Tim and Nancy, I'm going to write that down.
I hear that.
Has the actual formal application come out yet?
No.
Okay, that's the mid-January, so we sort of,
And they
First-
had a meeting a while ago. No? No, they're having them afterwards.
They've set up, we got an email, a Resiliency, Southern Maine Resiliency
Today,
something,
yeah.
email. And they are, they're doing 3 info sessions for this grant. And they are after the grant application has opened, so,
Okay.
which is not really super helpful. And they're gonna be it's gonna be like Portland, Machias, and Belfast or something like that.
Are they doing it online?
No, it's all in person.
Why?
And it's all at night, and I don't know.
That's unusual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can't sign up for it yet either, so. It just said stay tuned for more.
so we just had to monitor and see where.
You
But
want-
we can
want to
certainly sort of be reviewing our data and see what needs to be updated or.
Well, and Marianne and I have talked about what engineer, are you gonna get into this at this meeting, about the engineer?
I can.
Yeah, and kind of being prepared, having somebody lined up to help us with the application, since some of the information in it is outdated,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like the cost of construction. And potentially like the living shoreline techniques.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
I'm not saying that they need to be changed, but maybe they do, and we're not gonna be the ones to determine that.
Be nice if they could be bigger. If we could expand that living shoreline.
Yeah.
Mary Ann, may I take a few seconds to give the E&T report, because I have to run.
You got to run. Sure.
We didn't have a meeting in December, and pretty much all we've done since the last meeting here is I went to the select board and said, we finished everything you asked us to do, so why don't you think of something else for us? And that's where the.
And they're still thinking?
I haven't heard anything. So, anyway, I gotta run.
Okay. I think we come
But-
across, we always conflict with another meeting you have to go to, don't we?
Or it's the ambulance, isn't it?
Sometimes,
Oh.
actually, but now I'm doing Mondays on the ambulance.
So the windows out of the Spira budget, is that your committee? Is that
Yeah.
your doing?
That was their committee.
Yeah, that was the energy audit on the town office.
And so when will that, do you have any timeline of when that?
No idea. But it-
It's a John Monahan project?
Yeah, I mean, we hand it off to the staff and, it's not something that we're managing. But I gotta run. Thank
Okay,
you.
thanks, Howie.
Thanks, Harry.
Thanks, Howie.
Okay. So we will begin thinking about pulling this grant together and I'll send out draft to look at, and we'll be interested in some insights that you have, as you brought up, Tim, and Dan, you've taken pictures down there.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, right. So, and you're pretty familiar with it, I think, aren't you?
Really familiar with it, yeah.
Good. Okay. Committee updates are next. We just got Howie's. However, on the top of the list here is the Housing Committee had a workshop last night, or meeting or presentation. Could you tell us about it?
Yeah, so this is, I was just reading the minutes, this is the second meeting that we've had about establishing a housing trust, or the committee is like facilitating the conversation about a housing trust being established in town. There was pretty good turnout. There was a lot of people who were interested and are going to have signed up to fill various roles, basically. We have another, it's no longer in the housing committee's sort of, it's been handed off to
Just,
other folks who are,
it can't be town-sponsored anymore.
So this will be an independent nonprofit?
exactly,
Yes.
yeah. Yeah, and we had a really good conversation, it seemed like, and one of the things that I'm still percolating on as it relates to this committee is a discussion about how to effectively divide houses that are not being used, where there's a bunch of empty rooms. I'm not sure how to talk about that exactly. Like, other than that, like, there is a sort of multi-unit penalty to like water usage, I think, maybe. Is this, if a place is a separate apartment, it needs more flow in the septic design than it would for the equivalent, like, bathroom. So that there's like something, it's a thing that we see a lot of opportunity for, that ties in with this like water study and kind of
I
like
see.
how we might, like, does it make sense to, is there any flex in that? Can we write some ordinances or whatever? I don't know, about, yeah, if if you do a retrofit conversion, you don't have to like have the extra, I think it's like 30 or 50 gallons per day kind of flow design or something like that. I don't know if this is a state thing or,
Yeah.
but like this is anyways, that,
Yeah.
So basically lower the bar to allow for like dividing a house that's underutilized for
Yeah.
more housing.
that's what I'm thinking about in regards to this
Yeah.
committee interfacing with that sort of project. Yeah,
And I think from what I've gathered, the Housing Trust basically, from what they talked about last night, most of the opportunities are going to be houses, properties with houses come up that they want to, people want to sell, and I can't explain it either. There was an opportunity on Bailey Island. There was a house, this tall house on the corner of Oceanside, I believe, that came up where somebody was willing to donate or sell it at a reduced rate, that it could be converted into two-family. However, there was no entity that was able to handle the transaction. And from what the members of the Haas repair team, these come up, not a lot, but they have come up, and one or two times. What happened when the school came up for sale, there wasn't an entity that could handle facilitating having somebody turn that into apartments, let's just say. So a trust would be, it is a nonprofit, would be probably looking in those areas to begin with, to take advantage of opportunities as they come up. And then in time, you would seek out more opportunities of how to handle changing something from a 1 to 2 family.
yeah, exactly. So, and I mean, the resiliency of having different kinds of people and different sort of age groups, I think is, not to be missed, and it's,
Yeah, and we do want to keep the age group.
I think presumably once it existed and people made aware of it, you would hope that more opportunities would come up, would be the.
I think that's pretty likely. Harpswell seems to be a community-minded place in a lot of ways, and, yeah.
And that's the thinking.
So that's what we've been working on for like the past couple of months, is trying to like steward this thing. And so now we're going to do some other stuff, I guess.
So I did want to mention the, part of GOPIF and the main direction the state is looking at housing and community housing. And there may be opportunities in the future for some type of grant funding that'll come through, that we should be on the lookout to see what comes down the track. And I don't know how it would help you at this point, but I think it will be good to, and we got people here who are on both committees, thinking of Debbie being on the housing committee, so that we can be on the lookout for the housing committee, I think, to bring attention to these opportunities as they come up.
So one of the ways to think about it would be from a resilience perspective.
Right, exactly.
How do you build resilience in the community? Well, you need a diverse community, you need, both, age group and all that sort of stuff. But if if the housing committee's identified a strategy, which would be to establish a nonprofit, right? How do you establish that nonprofit? Well, there may be a GoPRIF grant that we could find that would say there needs to be some funding to help establish that nonprofit. What would be needed, that's what would go into the grant, but it's not a stretch for me to think that the town has a strategy to address housing issues and it needs some startup funds to make something happen. That's a highly credible grant proposal, particularly if it has support from, other committees in the town, like the Resiliency Committee.
And that's interesting to think about, because right now we've been focusing on town infrastructure, but I think I think the housing issue is becoming almost town infrastructure.
We're going to have great roads and nobody driving on them.
Well, also.
Your mic's not on, sorry, it's killing me.
Sorry, I keep forgetting. It also, but think back to our discussion about emergencies, right? And if there's a climate event, but it's only for a short period of time, and does it make sense to spend $10 million to raise a road when it may not make that much sense? What makes more sense is to strengthen our community of individuals in that response. So that whole thought
Let's
process
hold
we
that
went through, where we said it isn't just an infrastructure thing, it's a community building, strengthening approach. This falls squarely in that mindset. And we included thoughts like that in our last grant. So, I mean, I just don't think it's a stretch at all that we could integrate these two things. But it goes away from, I mean, we clearly can demonstrate there's infrastructure work to be done.
Yep.
But we similarly need to strengthen the community's ability to respond.
And that is a form of infrastructure. It's just not a concrete infrastructure.
That's right.
It's, what we're saying is that we have a social infrastructure, and that this kind of thing would build that, would strengthen, reinforce that social infrastructure by having, say, more young people in this town.
Yeah.
Because at some point, you can't wield a chainsaw anymore.
That's right. That's right.
Yep.
You talking from experience?
After the meeting.
No, that's a good point. So that's how we can interact with your committee, is I'm thinking.
Yeah, I would be, like, this is, I'm still learning how all of these
that's-
things go.
you know what?
And I think there are very likely opportunities for grants to pilot these kinds of housing splits or whatever. Like, I'm not sure where the money would best go to help move on stuff. So I'll do some thinking about it.
Do
And
some thinking about it.
yeah, would
We'll
also
keep talking about it. That'd be great.
There is a grant that Brunswick and maybe Brunswick and somebody else. There's like a pilot grant where they are granting people money to build ADUs.
Oh,
Up
okay.
to like $50,000, so, I mean,
Yeah, and Vermont has a state fund similarly that's $50,000 or $60,000 towards ADU construction. There's, not Maine, but it's
yeah.
something that people are doing.
Yeah, and that could go through your committee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sean, are you thinking about having a fund, and Tim called it startup money, but sort of a rolling fund whereby there's an initial infusion of money, and then you begin building this infrastructure with denser, I don't want to say denser housing, with
Better utilizing the
better
existing rooms.
utilizing existing housing or building ADUs or so on, and then I'm thinking like I think the way Habitat does this is that then that fund gets refilled by some infusion of money, whether it's rent or a nonprofit fundraising.
Yeah.
So you've got a pot of money and you can tap into it for a specific project and perhaps generate some funds for that project to then replenish the fund, the
It's a
stockpile of money.
It's a little clunky right now because that would probably be what the housing trust would be doing. And the housing trust would not be the housing committee's sort of like,
Right.
But that's, I imagine, something that the trust would very likely do is have a sort of like revolving loan program, basically, is what it would look like to me. Of like, yeah, here's that grant to help do the conversion, and like maybe that gets paid back via some of the rent, or, yeah, a bunch of different ways to do it, but,
It also takes time, effort, and therefore money to actually set up a nonprofit, to have it be credible in order to be able to accept funds and
Exactly.
administer them. So it's not a small task to do
Right.
that.
Right.
And that's when I was talking about startup, I was
You're thinking
referring
about those
to,
costs, or
the housing committee isn't going to do it. There
Right.
needs to be a nonprofit to do it, but where's that nonprofit going to get
Right.
the resources to exist, even just to start, and make it possible to be a partnership with the housing committee, right?
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking of, as that's like the first grant.
Right.
And then to establish the basis of a fund that you want to make it a rotating fund. And the question is, under what criteria? Well, the nonprofit would have to figure that out, and it would probably be the combination of several things. One of them would be fundraising, right? Another one would be, grant funds, and another one might be who knows what else. If, once you get an actual housing example started, maybe it generates revenue that comes back, right?
Yeah.
Those are three possible ways to grow the pot. And that becomes the strategy that the town says, we can't do it ourselves, we need an entity to help that's more flexible and can, access these different things, but we will work in partnership with it.
yeah.
So you don't, and it's clear that it's a partnership, so it isn't just like, well, it's gone off, we've hit set sail, we don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, it will take the shape that it takes, I think, as people
Exactly.
work on it, and it could be any number of things.
number of
Yeah.
things, yeah.
How the housing committee can support this project is something that I'm less clear on and trying to gain clarity about. Within the town entity place, what ways might we be helpful in making it easier for, I don't know, various projects to happen.
I did get, well, there was a list last night they gave us of all the housing trusts in Maine, of which there were 10 or 15, I think, which I still have to go through and read, all of them. But
That's a bunch of models to.
there's a lot of models.
Absolutely.
And-
I guess that the interface between trust and committee, or trust and
Yeah.
town entity,
Yeah.
but, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No. So there is another meeting on February 9th,
Yes.
Monday, yeah.
Monday, February 9th.
Monday, February 9th at 6 o'clock
6 o'clock.
at the Orrs Island Schoolhouse.
Right, if anybody's interested in learning more about the trust or perhaps getting involved with it.
Or knows anybody who's interested, or, yeah, just,
And it'll be Zoom accessible.
yes.
So. But there was interest last night,
Good.
and
Yeah, I think what we learn, assuming our water study gets funded, what we learn from that will be very useful with respect
that's
to
true, yeah.
ordinances and building in some flexibility in order for people to be able to afford to live in Oslo.
yep.
It's been a big part of the discussion over the last year. I think that having some more solid information hopefully will be helpful. Yeah. That's what we've been up to.
That's
Yeah.
over there, yeah, so. Good. That's last month's, where's today's? Okay, here we go. So we'll move on to town lands.
Yep. Well, we did not meet in December either. So no real update. I think the one thing is that we will start again, the king tide monitoring pictures. Because it's the winter time, it's the time to do it, because you get those in daylight. So that'll be on our January agenda to sort of draft, get volunteers to that again.
We've had some big king tides in the last 2 months. We haven't had a lot of bad weather with them, but,
There was a big tide last weekend.
yeah.
Oh, I
that was
think
a-
probably just,
At least there wasn't a lot of ice in it.
Yeah, and no wind either.
Right.
Yeah.
Is this the little photo stations kind of thing? Is
Yeah.
this?
That's, well, it's, I think that was, photo stations was different organization.
Gotcha.
I think we're not necessarily using photo sessions, but I think the instructions are, go there, add a king tide, and get the picture at the same location to sort of
And
get
you
some
can
sort of
upload them
benchmark.
to Anecdata if you do, but we had put this, the Conservation Commission, when they started this, had put up little posts and,
Yeah.
with instructions, but we found that you can really just stand in the same spot.
And it usually works pretty well.
But you can upload the data, which will, if you do it on your phone, will take you right to the area that you are in Harpswell. Okay. Dan,
It is, I've done.
Really
I've
fast.
done drone shots of that.
Oh,
but-
Ken, if you do that project, that's the first I've heard of it. So I would make sure that you tell Amelia, who's doing those new newsletters. And Katie will know about it, but, so Amelia's doing a monthly newsletter for the town, so that would be a really cool thing to put on the newsletter, if it's open to the public.
Traditionally, we've just drafted town lands members to do
Oh,
it.
gotcha, okay, never mind.
If there's a shortage of coverage, I think that's worth, trying to draft volunteers. It's a pretty low commitment.
Yeah.
So
Gotcha.
generally, people have been,
But it seems like that would be good public information anyway. that the
Well, if
town
people
lands
wanted,
committee-
yeah, if people wanted to
doing
look
it.
at the results too.
yeah,
Citizen science.
yeah.
I think a lot of people don't know that
We-
there's a town lands committee and what you do.
Yeah.
But they will soon.
Yeah. They know around Clark Cove.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking, yeah.
you didn't bring that one up tonight. Okay. Okay, planning board, do you have anything you want to talk about?
Well, we could use a couple of members. We've had 2 members now who have left the area, which is leaving us without alternates. So if you know of anybody who'd be interested, it's a fun group, no controversies at all.
No, no.
What kind of time commitment is the?
2 meetings a month. Yeah, a site visit and a meeting. That's pretty much it. Now, we are going to be looking at some ordinance amendments coming up. Especially considering that with the review of the reactions of the state to our comprehensive plan,
Yeah.
I imagine we'll be getting involved in that as well.
I think there will be a lot of time commitment after the comp plan, once the comp plan's adopted. Once the comp plan starts getting implemented, I think that there could be a lot more time commitment.
But are you planning on a implementation committee?
But all the changes will have to go through the planning board.
Right.
So, yeah.
I guess that if I'm going to ask around, I want to be able to accurately represent.
And the interesting thing is that, you don't have to have a lot of technical legal knowledge or practical knowledge of how the ordinances work, because we have people on the board, and Margaret.
Got Margaret.
Who can do that. But what's really important, and what was really helpful for a while in particular, was having Matt Gilly on there, because having a representation from the fishing community, particularly when we're getting requests for tear downs and rebuilds, and how does that affect fishing areas and
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff. Those are continuing issues. So, really, anybody with a different perspective, and, pretty much you put 2 people in Harpswell together and you've got 2 different perspectives.
Maybe
So-
3, yeah.
Maybe 3.
Okay. It's us down to the Resiliency Handbook, Nancy.
Yep, we have not done anything for the last 6 weeks or so, but I think we're gonna start up. We are well on our way to having a finished, or 99% finished text. And we're working on putting it into the format. We will need to reach out to people for photographs, because you may remember that we're using a template created by Arousik, which made its own handbook, but we need to modify that, so it's a Harpswell handbook.
Branded ourselves.
We want to brand it ourselves, but they've given us their template, so we don't have to make font decisions, we don't have to make kind of architectural decisions, we just need to customize it for us. And so we will be looking for photographs from lots of people, including Dan, but lots of people,
Well,
kind of like the land trust that has the, This Week in Harpswell.
Yeah, and the Anchor has a lot of them. There are a ton of good photographers in town.
There-
Yeah, we'll be looking for some interesting photos, like of cisterns.
I
Interesting.
Art-
photos.
That's exciting there.
Art photos of cisterns will be one of the kind of niche opportunities.
That is clearly a niche.
Yeah.
And I have one of- I
I
have-
know, I go out at least twice a week looking for.
For cisterns.
Yeah.
For sister.
Well, there's cistern season, so you
Yeah.
know, you have to pick the right season.
It doesn't conflict with king tides.
It could go together nicely.
So we will be meeting sometime, I think, in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, we will. We
gather
gotta
Jay's
get
out of
back to
town. I'm
meeting.
gonna go out of town, so we're gonna have to plan another meeting and
Yeah.
then get back up.
And what we'll do is, you're being very kind. I'm the roadblock on this.
You're a busy woman.
But what we'll do is send out the draft, and then we can look for pictures that go with the pages, basically.
I will tell you that there is another town in Maine which is looking to us for an example.
Really? Okay.
Sweden, Maine is interested
Sweden.
in what we do.
Oh.
One of the select board members in Sweden is married to one of my college roommates, and I told him about this. And he said,
Okay.
oh, I want to see it, I want to see it. He said, that sounds like exactly what we need. Obviously not the water context, but.
Okay.
Well, good. We could be an example to Sweden.
Mary Ann, really fast, we didn't talk about this other one. We don't have to, it just came out today.
Okay.
This little one pager just came out today. They're doing an info session on February 12th, I want to say. You can sign up. February
Is that
4th.
the one I signed up for today that you said is for that one?
Yes,
So
for
it's next week,
January.
January 14th.
January 14th.
January 14th.
Yes,
Yeah.
January 14th. They're doing an info session for this one. It mostly doesn't apply to us because it's a lot about stormwater and wastewater infrastructure, which we don't have municipally. But they do talk about transportation resilience. So I feel like that's kind of all that would apply for a town like us. But
Well, if we had,
Mary Ann and I are going to go to the.
do you want me to lock up?
No, we're gonna zoom in for this info
Yeah,
and
we're
try to
gonna zoom
figure
in,
out
yeah.
what could apply for us.
And what is that? I didn't get that one.
No, because that was a different pile.
Oh, okay,
I
different
need
pile.
that one, Yeah.
Cloud picture.
But at any rate, if we had some culverts that need to be changed, it would probably fall under that, but
Yeah.
this is a planning grant also, isn't it?
And construction, I think.
Is it? have to read it. I
Scoping,
haven't-
design, and construction.
Yeah.
Up to 3 million.
Possibility then, we have a couple of those
So
around.
the Dowdy Point Road, for instance, does that need to be, the road to the north of the school that heads west from 24, that heads out to Dowdy Point?
Yeah, but it's not,
Long Reach?
yeah, but it's not a public road.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be a good one.
But it can be on everybody's radar, especially town lands.
Yeah. But anyhow, that's something that we keep in mind. And I'll have more information next time. So our next meeting will be in February. We will have been starting on the grant at that point. And, yeah, so if there's anything else you would like to, that you're
And we'll
thinking
know
of.
about the water grant.
I hope so.
It'd be great if we got that.
That would be really.
That will also shift us into high gear on the timeline for collecting water data and the book.
Yes, yes, yes.
I think our intent is to move forward in some form, even if we don't get the grant. But I think getting the grant will put us on a
Put on a
stricter
front
time
foot.
schedule.
Yeah.
And we will have a fellow from Bowdoin this summer. I'm not sure what they'll
Good.
work on, because it can be a little subjective, but
Yeah, but
there
they'll
will
be,
be
they'll
one.
be part of putting that water study together.
Good.
Great.
Ideally.
Okay, thank you all.
All right, thanks.
See you next month.